God bless. I want to give an honor to God who is the head over my life. So I'm reading from Matthew's chapter 8, verses 23 through 27. My subject is Jesus calms the storm. Okay. So then he got into the boat and his disciples followed him. Suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. Then the disciples went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. He replied, You of little faith, why are you so afraid? When he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, What kind of man is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. Okay, so in 23, it's speaking about the boat that was used here was probably the kind familiar to many of Jesus' disciples who were fishermen. Okay, um, ancient historians living during the time of the apostles wrote there were usually more than 300 fishing boats on the Sea of Galilee at one time. The boat was large enough to hold Jesus and his 12 disciples, was powered both by oars and sails during a storm. However, the sails could have been taken down, keep them from ripping in to make the boat easier to control. The Sea of Galilee is an unusual body of water, although it is 150 feet deep at the deepest point in the shoreline, 690 feet below sea level. Sudden storms can appear over the surrounding mountains with little warning, stir up the water into violent 20-foot waves. These experienced fishermen had not foolishly set out in storms. They were caught without warning, and their danger were very real. Although the disciples had witnessed many miracles, they panicked. The storm, as experienced sailors, they knew its danger. That they did not know was that Jesus could control the forces of nature. We often encounter storms in our lives where we feel God can't or won't work. When we truly understand who God, however, we will realize that he controls both the storms of nature and the storms of troubled heart. Jesus' power that calmed his storm can also help us deal with the problems we face. And this is with us. Jesus is willing to help if we ask him. We should never discount his power, even in terrible trials. So basically, it speaks about Jesus' disciples on the boat. Okay, um, they feared the storm, but in this, Jesus calmed the storm. He told his disciples, "Don't be afraid." He calmed the storm for them. So this is how, when we walk in faith, sometimes we have to, even when we going into the deep end, you know what I'm saying? Where there's a lot of enemies surrounding us, you have to walk on faith and not be afraid. Sometimes you have to walk on the deep in order to do God's work, even if that means, um, you know saving God's people. Sometimes you have to walk on faith, and that's just what the Lord was saying in this verse. He was telling his disciples, walk on faith, don't be afraid of the storm. He was telling his disciples, don't be afraid because I'm walking with you. Okay, so after his disciples heard this, what the Lord was telling them, then the storm became completely calm. And the men were amazed and asked, What kind of man is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. So my subject is Jesus calms the storm. Um, Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 through 27. God bless.